because you're watching it happen. Let's do that. And do that. There we go. Right? Sure. Okay. Okay, let's try this again. We're going to be talking about the Ezeekat's Book Club January pick, which was The Other Side of the Sky. To do this, I'm going to be pulling up the Goodreads group, and I'm going to be going through the discussion especially in the spoilers portion of the Goodreads group, and we're going to be discussing what people are talking about. So obviously, if you haven't read The Other Side of the Sky yet, we're going to be discussing spoilers, so just so you're all aware. We're definitely going to be talking about spoilers.
I just finished it 20 minutes ago.
So this is a good thing to point out. I read the book back in December. So my memory of the book is like slightly vague, whereas Carl literally finished the book like 15 minutes ago. So we're going to ask him a lot of questions as we go through.
Oh boy.
You're going to be put on the spot.
Oh boy.
And we are going to try and take questions from you guys as well. There's just a lot of screens. So if we miss your question, I'm so sorry, but we will try to keep an eye on everything. There's just a lot of screens. There's going to be questions on the computer. There's questions on these things. There's a lot happening. So, all right, guys, let me pull up.
Oh boy, yes. Did I finish Crescent City? Yeah,
you did finish Crescent City. Yeah.
Yes, I did.
You did.
I did. Yeah, that's right.
All right, guys. So I'll also check out the live stream announcement post because I know that there are some there's some things in there that people posted.
Nandini asked, "What is the book related to?"
The related to? Do you mean like what is it about?
Or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so the book was the book choice
first
of a series. It was the book choice for Ezeekat's Book Club. So everybody that is here hopefully read the book in January and is now excited to talk about it. So, is there a way to like see YouTube comments?
You have to turn.
I'm gonna do live chat. Let's see. Oh,
Yeah,
there we go.
there
How
you
long
go.
will this be live? We'll probably be live about probably like an hour, I would think. Yeah. Hopefully I can edit that first part out of YouTube where it was like, we'll see. All right, here we go. So let's get started. So I'm just going to kind of go through and I'm going to I think I can probably read everything and we'll just kind of discuss. Obviously, as we go through, they get more and more complicated. It was honestly phenomenal. Thank you for bringing this to our group. Yay! There will not be a sneak peek of February's book tonight, though I will say that it will. I filmed the video announcing it today, so it is in my room somewhere.
In the bag.
It also was funny because this is a book that I read. Never mind, I'm not going to say anymore.
Our cats are in the other room.
They have been sequestered to a different
room. Destructive.
Yeah. All right, guys. So, once again, just blanket warning, we're about to start talking about The Other Side of the Sky, so there will be plenty of spoilers ahead, so just be aware, okay? All right, so this is Melissa. Melissa says, I just finished chapter 2, and wow, I can't wait to see what happens to North. This is pretty early, so we're looking back at the very beginning of January, so we're going to probably see people like start to talk about all the craziness that happens in the book as we go. All right, so I just finished chapter 4. This is from books.books.books. They said, I just finished chapter 4, and OMG, I can't even begin to describe how hooked I am. Let's see here. How am I supposed to wait until October for the second one after that cliffhanger? Wow. Yeah.
Sure is a cliffhanger. It's awesome.
I know, it's hard, right? Because I think it's super cool to be able to introduce you guys to different books that have cliffhangers, that this is the first in a series, especially because YA, which I feel like we'll probably read a good chunk of YA this year in this group. YA fantasy is very prone to creating series. Whereas contemporary, which we will also be reading at some point, they do series less. So it's hard because it's like, how do you read YA fantasy without reading something that probably has a cliffhanger, right? What do you think of the cliffhanger? You just finished. I mean, you just got cliff.
I thought it was great. I loved it. Yeah, I mean, Yeah, right. I was hung. I was cliffhanged.
Yikes.
You know, I was like, oh, I can't wait. Actually, I can't wait for the second book. I'm really excited about it. And Julia, as far as making more TikTok content, I don't know. I'll have to see. I kind of jumped on and then kind of rolled out.
Rolled out. All right, so yeah, so books also says in October. How are we supposed to wait until then? So yes, there is a sequel coming in October. This book, the sequel will not be like the book of the month choice because I want to. I don't want to like. I don't want this to become a group where we read like all in a series. Like my hope is that if you loved the book, you will then continue to read the sequel when it comes out. So, all right, let's see. Yeah, okay, this is Clara says, yes, yes. I almost screamed when I finished the book. Like, I know Amy and Megan do killing cliffhangers, but do you have to do that with every book? I can't wait. Yeah, I think it's a great cliffhanger. I think it's especially a good cliffhanger because it really gives us this idea that we are very soon going to be exploring North's world, right? Like we get a pretty good idea of Nim's world, but you know, it kind of leaves us hanging with North's world, right? Like we don't know a lot about it, but now we know going into the second book that we're going to focus a lot more on North's world.
Yeah, and it's really interesting that you're going to get that flip flop. It's like they went to one world and now they're going to go to his world.
Yeah, and it's going to be completely different, and that's really I mean, it's going to be almost like a different genre a little bit, which is exciting.
Curious.
Let's see here. So this is from Carrie. Carrie says, okay, my heart is racing after chapter 2. I'm so locked into North's campaign, and I'm here screaming at the council and his mothers, and now in panic about the glider. Holy cow, gah. Do you remember all that happening?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yep, it's all in the beginning of the book.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about North is I feel like, again, I'm so excited to go to his world in the next book because I feel like we got introduced to so many elements in his world, and then they kind of just got left behind when he left, right? Like we got introduced to this group that he is, you know, to the people that he loves and then his parents, and that kind of all fell away when he left. So I'm excited to get more of that, and I'm sure it'll add up to even more juicy drama. Let me just see. So this says, I'm over here in Ireland and just happy I managed to stay awake to watch the live stream. Absolutely adored the book. Thanks for suggestion. Oh, good. I'm so glad to hear that. Wonderful. Okay. So let's keep looking here.
Sounds like a lot of people liked and loved the book.
Wonderful. We love to hear that. I know I've seen some comments in here that have people that didn't like the book, so we'll definitely discuss those as well. Yeah, we'll get there. So this is from Robin, and Robin says, I just finished the book, which was great. I am a little unclear as to why the crown worked and then was destroyed, but somehow it had worked to send Isha's bio-dad back 20 years earlier. Or was that something else entirely?
A really good point.
I am looking forward to the next book and reading other series from these writers as well.
That's a really good point.
I actually don't think they explain that in the book. I saw this question early on. I feel like it's probably something that will get explained.
Or never.
Later. Never? You don't think so?
Well, I mean,
if it doesn't, I feel like that's kind of a big plot hole, right?
It is.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of it, so that's a good one.
I feel like there will probably be an explanation of that at some point, but it is a really good point, and it is a plot hole that I didn't notice until I read this comment, and then I was like, oh, that's interesting, right? Yeah. All right, so let's see here.
You thought North was annoying?
Oh, really? I really liked North.
Amber said he was annoying.
There were times that I found Nim annoying, but not throughout the entire book. I generally liked North a lot because I think maybe because I think like North, I'm much more like scientifically minded, and would, if I was hearing all this stuff about their faith, I would be like, really? So I think I related a lot more to him, but I could see if that was not the case for you, not relating to him, then he might be annoying because he can be kind of, you know. Okay, so let's see here. So Annie actually answered this question about spoke to this question about the crown, right? So Annie says, oh my goodness, so much suspense now till the next one. There's so many things I want to know. I think the crown was destroyed because they were two powerful people fighting over it, and Insha is mistouched. Will be very interesting to see North's adventures in the next one, and who is on the other side of the chrono. Yeah, that's kind of a big question left at the end, right? Is like, well, who is on the other side of that chrono?
It was her father. But what I thought would make more sense, like, why would he continue to talk to her? And, you know, it didn't make as much sense to me that he would be talking to her, and then she ends up telling him that her mother had died. But I was thinking maybe she was just listening to like a recording.
Yeah, that's true. It could be a recording.
You know what I mean? He could just be like talking about it, and I don't know, but she wouldn't think it was live though. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very possible that her father ends up being like,
it's broken and it's playing parts of the recording over time.
Yeah, that could be true too. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't.
It's broken. I just finished it. It was amazing. Only one complaint. Why did we read this in January and now we have to wait until October for the sequel? Sorry. All right, so Lilac, I think that's how we say it, Lilac or Lilac, says, I have to know, when they said the other girl's body at the end, they didn't mean a dead body, right? Just a body. And can the Fish King make another crown or fix the one that was destroyed? Ask so many questions. There is no way that Nim is dead. Like, there's just no way. It wouldn't make sense. It's not good storytelling. There's no way that Nim is dead because, like, first of all, you don't kill off the main character of your book in a way that's, like, ambiguous. Like, if you kill off a main character in a book, it's, like, for sure, right? And yeah, there's just no way that Nim is dead. That would be terrible storytelling to make you fall in love with one of these two main characters, and then in a second book, just not have her there.
Not dead.
That would be not good.
So Kristen is live says she thought it was a different relic the first time. Was it? I can't remember. That sent the original guy back home, and then the crown is another one.
Oh, it might have been because they did talk about the different relics were able to do different things. Yeah,
maybe. And yeah, Shadow Poker, I wasn't a huge fan of the male narrator. So of those who did the audiobook, that's what they're talking about, right? The male narrator. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't love him.
He didn't like the male narrator.
He was kind of like yelling at first. I was like, oh my gosh. And the female one, I didn't love either, but it kind of grew on me because she was Nim, and Nim kind of talked a little funny anyway, I guess. Like, she was like a divine person.
Yeah. A couple comments on YouTube here. So somebody said, OMG, that's my comment. Sarah says, I feel like she's unconscious. There was a lot happening at the end there. Yeah, I totally agree. But Sarah, another Sarah, two different Sarahs on YouTube said, we don't know that was Insha at the end for sure. Nim could be lying. And that's a good point. I don't know that that's really in Nim's character to do, because Nim is so much more of like a pure type of character. I think it's much more likely that it's Insha, but it is possible.
Seemed like her.
Yeah.
She seemed so, sketchy.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. So he said before, this is from Lilac as well. She says, or they say, before I realized it was a series, I was disappointed when the book barely explored North's world, but now I guess that's what we're doing in book 2. Exactly. Mm-hmm. See? So this is from Leanne. Leanne says, I just finished and my husband is about to start. Boy, is he going to be upset when he finds out I didn't warn him about the cliffhanger. Oh, Leanne. Cruel. And that the next book isn't out yet. LOL, this was an excellent first read of the new year. Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed it, Leanne. Yeah, I think about this a lot when I review books, is that a lot of times when I'm doing a review, like I was just doing a review today where I was talking about, this was not for TikTok, this was for my end of the month video where I like talk about, for YouTube, where I talk about all the books I read. And there was a book that when I started talking about it, I suddenly realized that one of my main complaints about the book was that I thought the ending was too optimistic. Like after everything the characters went through, I thought the ending was like really too happy. But I never want to say that because I feel like it is kind of a spoiler to tell you if a book, like people always ask in the comments on TikTok and Instagram when I review a book, they're like, does it have a happy ending? Why would I tell you that? Of course, you have to read it to find out. I'm not going to spoil that for you.
Elise6501 said she found the divinity a huge plot hole in the book.
I think it's something, though, that will get explained a lot more in the next book. I think stuff like that, it's hard for me to call it a plot hole until we see what comes in the future books, right? Because something that is a plot hole now could get explained later on. Over on TikTok, we have Qualston says, narrators can truly make or break audiobooks. It's a struggle. I totally agree with that. And then Barry Morin says the narrators were great, in my opinion. Okay, so now...
Better.
Let's see here. So I just finished the book. Oh, I see. So that was what I was thinking. I was so pissed that the crown broke. Was it the mist? But it certainly made room for tons of chaos to come. That ending, the body in the bushes. Body, how dare this even imply she may be dead? Then taking Nim's name, I'm on fire. Yeah, I definitely don't think Nim is dead. I think that would be just from like a writing perspective and storytelling, it would just be a terrible choice.
Yeah.
No editor would allow that.
And Kristen says that, she was also wearing red and Nim wasn't.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, this is from Ashlyn.
Eyeliner.
So Ashlyn says, okay, that ending, why? I was so excited for it all to wrap up nice and pretty with Nim and North being happy and I'm not going to read the next word, and stuff. Happy and stuff. Another poster said something about why the crown worked 20 years ago and was okay, and then this time it was destroyed. Pretty good chance because 20 years ago it didn't carry 2 people back to Alciel. I can't wait till October. I need Nim to be okay. Also, Matthias being the Fisher King is amazing, and I love him. Anyone else feel like the cat? Oh, okay. I love this. So before I read this, you guys had this amazing discussion about this cat, about the Bindle cat, and this I think is where it starts, and I think it's amazing. So I can't wait to talk about it. Anyone else feel like the cat is connected to something somehow? I kept thinking they never said what happened to Nim's mom. Maybe she's the cat. Right?
Interesting.
You guys started talking about this, and when this first poster posted about this, I was like, "That's crazy." And then people started like elaborating on it, and it just makes it. I mean, you guys have me convinced that the cat is the mom. Like, I'm convinced. So the next person said, "This is Laura." Says, "Ooh, I'm here for the cat theory. That cat is too intelligent." What do you think? Do you think the cat is Nim's mom? In cat form? In Catnito?
Yes, it's possible. I mean, there's magic, so why not, right?
Oh. This is from Ciara. Ciara says, OMG, I just finished, and I need the next book as soon as it is released. I was not expecting the ending to be leading onto a sequel, and rather Nim and North saving the worlds in a way. I love the cat theory. I think we will learn more about it in the next book, especially how it just disappeared. Mysterious. I am so glad I read this book because I loved it so much. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, Ciara. So then, let's see how. I like this. Kay says, finish this book in a morning, and how long do we have to wait for Nim and North to be reunited? Yeah, I'm sure it won't be right off the bat. There will definitely be, I would think there would probably be a good third or even half of the book before they get reunited.
Half? That's going to be frustrating.
All right, here we go. Yeah. So, this is from Clara as well. I am so in on the cat being someone. If it's not Nim's mom, there has to be more about it, and I'm sure as soon as the secret is lifted, we'll all be like, oh man, how could we have overseen that? It's so obvious.
The Secret of Nim. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah. Maybe that's it. They're all rats, actually.
Oh my
Let's see here. That I think is just a question. So, and I think someone already answered it. So, this is from Ashlyn. So Ashlyn says, I have no idea how to quote posts, but I'll just keep going. This is about the cat theory. If it isn't Nim's mom, then it's definitely someone. The priest decided she'd want it with her as a companion. That cat is too damn smart. Always comes back to her. Knows enough to have made sure North was safe because she cares for him. And is the only living being allowed to touch her, and vice versa. I didn't even think about that. The cat and her are allowed to touch.
Yeah,
right?
It kind of crossed my mind, but I just overlooked it.
The fact the cat doesn't have a name was also kind of curious to me. It doesn't seem like the people of Nim's world keep pets, so why her? Why this cat? How odd for her to have found it no longer after she was discovered to be the divine one. I'm starting to suspect maybe the cat could also be her father. If my theory that Daomen is her father isn't correct, because I think both her and North refer at least once to the cat as him. It could be a generalization, but with how many tiny hints are littered through the story, it might not be. All these theories about this freaking cat!
Nandini just said, now I want to read this book. That means she's, spoiler.
Very spoiler. Some people don't care as much about spoilers,
But I'm glad you'll want to read it. It's really good.
So it's interesting to me, just to throw I'm sure I think we talk more about the cat in these comments, but something I want to throw out is that, I went into this book kind of thinking about it like a Miyazaki movie, so I didn't even think for an instant that there was something weird about the cat. I just, in Miyazaki movies, there are a lot of times there's just like random cats that lead you on journeys. Like that's kind of a big trope, especially in like a lot of Japanese books, is that a cat will lead you onto an adventure. And so I didn't even think about the cat being someone because I was like, oh, it's just a cat. Just, the cats like lead you on to adventure kind of a thing. I thought it was that kind of a thing. And so when you guys were like, the cat is the most important character in the book, I was like, what?
And speaking of anime, I felt like when I was in the middle of this book, I thought, wow, I would love to see this as an animated show or feature. I think it would be better animated than live.
I think it would be better animated,
I
animated than live as well.
Yeah, I just saw it and I was like, oh, this would be really cool animated.
Yeah, for sure. So, let's see.
We were talking
about this book, The Other Side of the Sky, by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. Okay, so I just finished the book. The cliffhanger's intense. Nim's body in a bush. North's granddad dead after his glider was sabotaged just before. These things do not sound okay. Very pleased that the cat was okay in the end. About the cat theory mentioned earlier, I am not sure if it's a human. Maybe more a god in animal form. And I found the way North sees cats hilarious. The way he described the cat when he did not know what it was amazing. That was from Diana.
Okay, just checking the comments on that.
Yeah, it's the way that TikTok has been loading in comments is really obnoxious. I highly recommend this book to my husband. Okay, this is from Melissa. Melissa says, this is the first time I have enjoyed a fastest book ever, and it was within the first couple of chapters that I was hooked, but the ending. If this is a staple of the genre, my heart can't take it. I thought Matthias as the Fisher King was so beautifully done, and I agree with the cat theories. The whole way through, I thought they might reveal them meows, hopefully in the second book. Yeah, I hate to tell you, but the cliffhanger thing is very much a nature of this genre. And in fact, today when I was making my video about what I read in January, I went on this whole tangent about how young adult books are getting really bad about cliffhangers. At least with this book, I feel like we got a complete story and like lead into the next one. I feel like a lot of young adult books are now like ending like somewhere in the middle of Act 2, not even giving us an Act 3 before they cut off and the book is over, and it's driving me crazy. It's going to be sad when North finds out about his granddad. Oh, this cross with Avatar style would be amazing. Yeah, that would be really cool. Okay, so this is someone who did not enjoy the book, so I'm interested to see what they had to say. This is from Secret Agent Koala. So Secret Agent Koala said, I couldn't finish this. The writing style is just not for me. I like fantasy, I enjoy sci-fi, although neither is my go-to genre. This just fell so flat. I couldn't manage to care about any characters or their motivations to do what they wish to do. I don't like to give up on a book that I've started, but life is too short to force myself to read something I am not enjoying, especially since reading is meant to be enjoyable. I certainly won't be reading anything else by either author. I hope that next month's pick will be more enjoyable for me.
Oh, we hope so too.
Yeah, I hope that next month's book is more enjoyable for you as well. I will say next month's book is similar in genre, but I do hope you enjoy it. And that's the thing. I totally agree. If you ever get, if you ever read one of these books and you're just like not into it, that is totally okay. I do hope that I pick books that on the whole most people will enjoy. Sorry, Instagram. Can you plug this in? But try not to knock it over. Okay. My hope is that we pick books. I pick books that you guys will all enjoy. But it's totally okay to not enjoy the book. And I totally agree with this person. If you're not enjoying a book, you don't have to finish it. Because life's too short, like they said. So this is so funny. So this is from Ananya. This is something that was just said in the chat. Is it just me, or the whole transfer of divinity from one vessel to another feels very much like Avatar: The Last Airbender vibe? Not complaining though. I mean, I agree. It kind of has that like transferring down from one person to another, right? Mm-hmm. Victoria said that was one of the best books I've read in a while. I can't wait for the next one. Okay.
Yikes.
What?
That.
Oh, because it's long?
No, did you see what it says?
No, not yet. I'm going to read it right now. So this is from Rosie Proctor. Rosie Proctor says, anyone else think North and Isha could be siblings? No, just me? Figures, lol. I definitely feel like the cat is more than just a pet. Not sure who it embodies, but I definitely feel like it is someone important. I am too impatient to wait for the second book. Not going to lie though, I didn't think I would get into this book. I tried and then had to put it down. It was too much for my sleep-deprived brain. The second time I picked it up, I read like 5 chapters, then I couldn't stop reading. So happy to have read a book I never would have picked up for myself, and I enjoyed it. Oh, I'm really glad you enjoyed it. I really hope that they're not siblings. Not to spoil another very popular fantasy series, but there is a very popular on Book Talk, I think on BookTube. there's a popular series that involves a brother and sister basically falling in love and then finding out they're brother and sister. And I don't love it, so I really hope they're not siblings, because that would be ridiculous, and I don't think my little heart can take it. Is the next book shorter? It's probably about the same length, because Other Side of the Sky is pretty standard length for young adults. Actually, the next book is a little shorter, actually.
Oh, yeah, and we were thinking it's Nim, but Ishna?
Ishna?
Ish.
Somebody else said, yeah, I also thought they could be siblings, but also the possibility that Ish's dad sabotaged North. It might be Isha. All right, let's see. Let's go on to the next page. I really enjoyed this book. This is from Brandy. I really enjoyed this book. I saw a couple of people reference Miyazaki vibes in their reviews, and I can definitely see parallels. I love the contrast between the two worlds. Something is definitely up with that cat. Someone asked a question on Instagram. I'm just going to check what that is really quick. Oh, that's okay. We're only really going to answer questions tonight about The Other Side of the Sky, because otherwise we'll get off onto crazy tangents. Yeah, he's Mortal Instrument. You guys have no chill. I'm like, I'm not going to spoil the book, and you guys are like, this is the book that he's trying not to spoil. Oh, man. And then there's just more spoilers. Spoilers on top of spoilers. All right, so this is from Mrs. Perez. This says, yikes, just finished chapter 26 with goosebumps. And to think when I first got it in a subscription box, I was so meh about it. Thanks, Jason, for convincing me to give it a chance through the book club. I'm so glad you read it. This is from Ashlyn. So I'm here for the idea that Talamar could be Ish's dad. He was mysteriously pitted at North's father, talked to North about flying, and would be able to get close enough to the king to poison him or outright kill him. He could have easily sabotaged North's glider, and he shares DNA with North, so anything is possible, really. They also describe him as pushy about getting on the council, and that he's only really there because he's North's blood father. I think it's also mentioned that he knew North was the Sky Singer's pilot. Super into this theory. I agree. I think all of that is very, very highly likely. I feel like that character was like super fishy, super up to something, right? What are you looking for?
I don't know.
Oh, you're just searching the book?
I could barely remember that.
Character. All right, so let's see here. All right, so I'm trying not to read comments that are like kind of repeating what other people have said necessarily, but I will read this one. So this is from Ray, and she says, they say, can I just say I'm living for the little sprinklings of polyamory every time North mentions Miri and Cialis.
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of hoping that Nim and North figure something out because they're my babes and seem so cute, but gosh, I'm also hoping for that 3 to be a thing or a 4 somehow. If Nim got to meet the others, bring on the polyamory. So actually part of why I chose this book was not like one of the main reasons, but I really did think it was cool that like in this fantasy world, polyamory was like a very accepted thing. I think I said in one of my early videos that I made about choosing this book that I couldn't think of a single other fantasy book, young adult fantasy book that did that. I mean, I'm sure they're out there, but I had never read something that talked about that before. And I thought it was super interesting. It was like such an interesting choice to make for that character.
Yeah, I thought maybe in the next book that they'll explore some more, and I figured probably Nim would probably find one of them.
Yeah, I mean,
you know?
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely room for some really juicy drama there, which I think would be great, right? Let's see here. Okay, so this is a long comment, so I'm sure we'll find something juicy in here. Let's take a look. So this is from Nana.Estevez. I finished the book yesterday, and I ended with more questions than answers. First of all, that ending is like, well, you didn't suffer enough during the book. Now read this and try not to get emotional. And no, I just want part 2 to come out. Second, I have theories all the time in my head popping like, hey, what about this? But at least I am not the only one. The first theory that came to my mind is that the cat with Nim is someone, maybe her mom, but also probably a divinity. Or, and this one is kind of crazy, Someone from the other side of the sky. I don't know, but that cat is too smart in comparison to the ones I know. The other theory is more simple. Inshara and North are siblings. I mean, it's easy to think that the guy who went below 20 years ago can be Talamar, and he went to Alciel again and became North's biological father. In my head, it makes sense because Talamar is encouraging North in Chapter 2 to talk about going below because he knows what exists below. And he is speaking to his daughter through the necklace that her mom gave her. That is a very interesting theory and very, very highly likely, right? Carl's like, what?
I don't know.
That's a lot. I mean, I think that could be very possible. I think of all the theories we've read about, like, the family lines, I think that's probably the most possible.
I don't think I remember who everybody is right now. So sad. And also, I think because I'm listening to the book, I don't get to see their names.
Yeah, that's a good point. So whenever I listen to an audiobook, I also try to at least read a couple chapters of the book, or like even if it's like a sample or something on a Kindle or whatever, just so I can kind of see the names of everything. So, let's see. I'm thinking the Bindlecat, this is from Izzy. I'm thinking the Bindlecat is actually the Lightbringer. He just uses Nim to do his bidding because he doesn't have opposable thumbs. No, I will not be taking criticism at this time. That's my favorite comment. That's amazing. Like, nah, Nim, you're just a gal. Your cat is the real MVP. Everybody loves the cat. The cat is, like, definitely the star of the show. All right, let's see here. I like this question. This is from Beatrice. She says, will North be considered a god below? The cat stayed with him when he left Nim. What do you think it means? Yeah, I mean, I feel like North could I feel like he's probably going to get put in prison or something, but I think it could also very well be that he becomes like a deity to the people below since he got left behind, right? I think it's more likely that they throw him in prison, though. The cat is the main character.
In a way, you know how they had the exodus of all the, gods went up, and now they just had some other gods go up.
Yeah.
More of their prophecies.
Let's see here. All right. Sorry, a lot of these are kind of reiterating stuff about the cliffhanger, the cat, whether or not they're siblings. So I don't necessarily need to reread all of those. A lot of people are upset they didn't know it was a series. So this is from Devon, Devon. I just finished the book, and wow, that ending, I thought I knew what was going to happen, but I didn't. I'm going to echo a couple of things. I read from someone that they think North and Insha are siblings, and yes, that was my first thought when Jazera was talking about her Cloudlander. And how they mentioned the body in the bushes at the end. Excuse me, the body, like she's gone. I refuse to accept it. I wasn't sure that I was going to enjoy this book and continue reading the series, but I might after the ending of this one. Oh, good.
Amber says, why do you think Elkisa told Nim that North was dead? I mean, I think that's really, really cruel. I mean, she just really didn't want her to go back.
Yeah.
For some reason. That's why she went as far as that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think she was just being cruel and didn't want her to, and was trying to control her.
You think?
Yeah, totally. So someone mentioned this. I think they're saying the next book is called The Last. How sure I knew? Oh, never mind. I take it back. I just read the comment wrong. Okay. I think this is a really important comment, so I'm gonna read it. This is from Dio. I really hope the cat will survive, and they'll give it a name. Captain Fluffy Pants would be a great name. I agree, Dio.
Happy Crafty Nerd says, what's the chance that the different worlds are actually different times? Like time travel. Like when you go between the worlds, they're at different times.
Maybe. I mean,
Possible.
nothing time travel-y was really mentioned in the book or made me think that it was time travel-y, but that is a cool theory. All right, let's see here. Okay, so this is from Delhi, or Day, Deii. I think this is another one that like didn't love the book, so I'm always interested like what the criticisms were. So I thought it was okay. It definitely had a very Ghibli-esque vibe, which I really appreciated. The human moments between North and Nim were everything in the book, and the moments that they respected each other above all else. I think that was really wonderful. I think the respect between different cultures is something that really needs to be highlighted. It was a wonderful distraction from the world going on right now, that there is still good and respect, and that we could be capable of that if we listen. Everyone has to make the first step, and that was something really highlighted. While it was fantasy, there were elements of science fiction within it from Nim and the respect one gives to other cultures.
From North.
From North, sorry, and the respect one gives other cultures. I think the ending struck a bit more of the potency of the interactions between North and Nim, and felt maybe it didn't need to be a series. But then again, who knows what may come out of the next book? Just my thoughts. I'm glad you folks enjoyed it. I'm glad folks enjoyed it. It's interesting because they, I don't know who this is, starts out, I thought it was okay. But you definitely highlighted a lot of the reasons that I really loved the book. So I'm glad that you still enjoyed those elements of it because, a big part of why I picked this book, keep in mind, I was picking this book in December, going into January, where tensions, especially in the US, were probably at their, breaking point. And seeing a book that really, took these, two people who could not be from more different worlds, meeting, and yes, they had their differences and they did not always agree, but they did find a way to work together despite all of that, and were open to each other's world and beliefs. And I thought that was really powerful, and I thought that was just such a great message to start the year with. Let's see. So, speaking of the prophecy, why does she assume Jazera is the mother of the light? Where is her mother?
How does that work, the chat?
It goes away.
Goes away.
Yeah.
It's like stuff that we missed?
Maybe.
Oh.
A little bit.
How come it doesn't appear when people...
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I think it's metaphor. I think the world as they know it will end because they will bring the Cloudlands down to the world everyone will have to...
Oh. What's that? That's not good.
It'd be under this. Live chat, top chat. Yeah, there's just no way to keep the comments up, I don't think.
That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. YouTube's weird. YouTube Live is weird. What age would this be suitable for? It's young adult, so I would say 13 and up. Maybe 12 and up. It's not like a spicy book by any stretch of the imagination. I think maybe you shouldn't because you're gonna mess it up and then we'll not have and then we'll lose the recording. No, just don't. They're like filters.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so
we don't really know what happened to her.
Let's see here.
YA, I think, but preteens could probably read it too. It's not a graphic. It's not.
Yeah, it's not graphic at all.
There's a lot of futuristic sci-fi that's vegan. What?
Let's see here. I'm just skipping through some of the comments that are kind of repeating some of the same things that we've already talked about. Let's see here. I'm going to read this one. This is from Alyssa. So Alyssa says, it's 3:30 in the morning. I just finished the book and I am trying to figure out what to do until October. That seems so far away and I need answers now. Great first pick. It took me a while to get into, but in the end I was hooked. I love people's cat theory. I was waiting for there to be more to the cat too. The possibility of it being Nim's mother is both interesting and heartwarming. Other things I enjoyed about the book include the fact that Matthias is the Fisher King. The switcheroos of my thoughts on certain characters I disliked to Checky, but by the end was like, he's not a bad guy. And the general world building, which I think was well done. I am hoping the sequel spends more time in LCL. Based on the ending, it seems like they will. Again, great first pick. Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed it. All right, so we're gonna go to our last page of the spoiler comments, and then I'll just take a look at a couple other spots in the group and just see. Let's see here. Let's see. So someone said, I will mention, somebody said, Just finished the book, might be an unpopular opinion, but that ending was horrible. And then someone agreed and said, no, I agree with you. I felt that could have been a standalone at most. I think it's exciting that it's a second book because we get to see Alciel, because we didn't really get to see Alciel at all in this book. I mean, we got to see a little bit, but I'm excited to see more of it. Let's see here.
What about the prophecy? Do we really think they're going to actually destroy the worlds, or is it just a metaphor?
I think it's gonna be a metaphor. That's kind of a common theme in YA books, that it's like, we're going to destroy the world, but then it ends up being like, destroy someone's world, you know? I don't think they'll actually destroy the world.
I think the prophecy is supposed to...
I've only seen a couple books where they full-on destroyed the world.
I mean, I felt like it made sense. They were going to restart the world and be brand new again. I mean, only gods would think to do things like that, but we wouldn't as humans.
Yeah.
And so maybe because she's kind of like half human, half god, it makes it harder for her to make that decision, but I don't know.
Let's see here. So
I feel like maybe that's really what should have and should be happening, but then they just ignore it and continue living on, and everyone just continues to suffer.
So this is from Rebecca. Rebecca says, finished the book this afternoon. Excuse me. I enjoyed but did have a lot of questions about things that just didn't quite make sense to me. The timeline of the story is ridiculous. That all happened in about 48 hours. They packed so much into 48 hours. It really should have been that he was down there for much longer than that. Also, the crown, why did it end up destroyed after it was used this time, but not when Jazeera's leveled back? I agree with you guys that it was because it took 2 people. I think that was probably a big reason. Alkisa was very underdeveloped for being a traitor. We had no idea why, except for Inshar's magical pull. How did the cult even get to Alkisa?
Yeah.
I enjoyed the book and look forward to reading the second book, but overall I felt a bit underdeveloped to me. Yeah, I think that the hard thing with a series, right, is also some things that maybe don't make sense now might make sense later. So we kind of have to wait and see if those plot holes get filled in. Let's see here. I'm buzzing with excitement for this sequel.
Did anyone else finish the book in a day?
Oh, I did not. I think this took me 3 or 4 days to read.
I took the whole month.
You took Carl the whole month. Let's see. All right, I'm going to read I think we're getting near the end, so I'm going to read this long comment by Alejandra. So it says, I just finished reading it. I got to say, it was a roller coaster for me. At first, I couldn't really get the hang of it. Took me a while to really enjoy it, but I decided to go on. I really enjoyed it for the most part once I got through I'm guessing that's through the tough part. However, the last few chapters were all over the place and didn't make any sense for me. I felt like that Nim was not the same Nim from the rest of the book. It wasn't even her character development felt like a whole other person in there. So many things I wouldn't expect of her. Also, I saw most of the posts here, and I think nobody else has ventured to say this, but I believe Cialis was the one to sabotage North. Now, hear me out. He is the son of one of the tutors. He is not highborn, meaning that maybe his father / he wanted to associate with royalty. So I think Cialis' father might be the one who's speaking to Isha. I have no more proof than he and Miri being the only ones to know about the glider and of North's escape to the city, or escape at the time. But I just get this vibe from him. I don't know. Maybe this theory makes no sense at all, but I like to imagine that all possibilities. I mean, I think it's a theory that definitely could be potential, because there's no reason that it couldn't be. I wish I'd known this was a series. As a personal rule, I do not read series until the whole thing is published. I have the patience of a puppy in front of a piece of chicken. I cannot wait for the sequel. The upcoming months will be torture. I just can't stand to not know. I'll take it as a lesson, though. I'll make sure the next book selection is a standalone, or at least that the whole thing is out. Else, I'll just add to the TBR until it is. Last note, 100% sure the cat is not just a regular cat. Lots of good thoughts. Yeah, like I said, I said this at the beginning of the live stream, but I'll say it again. I think it's very hard to find fantasy young adult to read in a book club that isn't in some way part of a series, because fantasy young adult is almost always part of a series, right? I never thought of that, but yeah, there's a lot of parallels. Yeah, agreed. Let's see here. Let's see here.
I'm just gonna go back to Alkisa. I was a little disappointed that there wasn't more about that either. It's kind of like, okay, she got outed as being a traitor, and then, I felt like they were so close. Like how, like what happened, right?
All right, I'm gonna stop reading that discussion group for now. I'm just gonna go into the
Lore is a
announcement.
standalone.
Yeah, but I would never recommend that book for a book club. I don't know if that person is they're probably being serious or not, but if you guys saw my review of Lore, you know that will never make it to my book club. I will never recommend people read that book. Okay, so I just want to check the live stream announcement because some people did talk about it. So let's make sure we got everything in here. So somebody said, Ashlyn said, got to talk about all the wild theories we've come up with, especially the cat, who Ish's dad is, and the sibling theory. I feel like we did talk about a lot of that. We should discuss theories as to the parentage of the characters. We did talk about that. I think we should discuss how magic divinity functions in this world. Although I did enjoy the magic of the world, there were aspects that left me still a little confused on how it works. Like how divine ones must remain untouched even though they had contact with people before being called to divinity, or how it is believed that divinity will leave one body if they are touched, yet Jazera mentions that she was able to complete her duties just fine. Mm-hmm. And when her daughter touches Nim, divinity does appear to start leaving Nim before she reclaims it. I personally think a lot of it is faith, right? I personally thought that the only reason Nim felt like she was losing her divinity is because she so strongly believed that she would. I think a lot of it comes down to... I thought a lot of that came down to faith, personally.
I also think maybe because... what was Jazara's daughter's name again? When she touched Nim, she wasn't like a normal person touching her.
Yeah, she has like power.
Yeah, I mean... maybe it's the power, so maybe Nim wouldn't have lost any power whatsoever, but because Jazara's daughter was like this weird powerful being, she was maybe sucking the power out of her,
yeah
that's what I kind of thought.
I think that's a good point too. She might be sucking the power out of her,
because that's the way they described it when they were talking about her power leaving and going into her, and she was lighting up and Nim was getting dimmer, and then she pulled it back, and then Nim started glowing more. So they're like fighting
for power. Yeah, I really thought that Nim, the only reason Nim really believed that the whole touching thing would have any effect with a moral is because she'd been told it all her life. I don't think it actually would have affected her at all if somebody had touched her, but I think you're right. I think that affected her because of the power pull. Let's see here. We could discuss from which viewpoints the second book could be. If Nim is really dead, it could only be North's POV. Yeah, I really don't think Nim is dead. So I think the second book will once again be from Nim and North. I think
it'd be fascinating. I think it'd be fascinating if Nim was dead.
There's no way.
I mean, they could do all kind of twists and turns. Make it like.
And maybe they'll bring Nim back to life.
Maybe they like switched bodies.
Yeah, that's true.
Or...
I just. From a storytelling perspective, I think Nim just being dead like that is just not not smart storytelling.
It could be that they switched bodies, so Nim was in the other girl's body, and so that's why she was wearing red and looked like her, but she still said her name was Nim, but it didn't sound like her.
No, yeah, I definitely just think that she's not. Somebody said, I would love to discuss the queerness in the novel and how this is considered an LGBTQ story. Because yes, it is, but not in the way Aristotle and Dante discovered the secrets of the universe is. It is diverse, which is amazing, but how representative is it of the queerness is with the villains? And what about North's polyamory? All quite interesting questions for us to ponder. Yeah, I mean, what I really like about the queerness in this book is that it's not the central point of the story. I think so many, especially young adult books, when they make a character queer, that character is... that first of all, that queerness is like a central part of their story. Yeah. Their entire story is about them being queer. I think it's great to just have characters that are queer in different ways, and then the story has nothing to do with that. It's just part of what makes their character so interesting. I think that's great, and I think that the more we see that in books, the more of a like normal thing it's going to be that just characters are queer in books, and it doesn't have to be like the highlight of the book. It can just be a piece of those characters, which I think, over this past year, I've seen more and more books do that, and I think that's great. I think it's a huge step in the right direction.
Angie says, also, could North's friends actually be betraying him? Like, maybe for the chance to...
Yeah, that's true.
Get something.
Someone else mentioned they thought the they felt like the book moved too fast, just right. Oh no, I'm sorry. Let me read this whole thing because I think I'm butchering it. Some discussions in forum concern the timeline of the novel. Did you feel it moved too fast, just right, or too slowly? Keeping in mind that what happened occurred in only a couple of days. I've read some books recently that took place in very short time periods, and it had bothered me. But in this book, it didn't really bug me for some reason. I think because there was such a sense of urgency in the story being told, and I don't think it was too crazy to think that all of that could have happened in a couple days. The only thing that probably strikes me is the fact that these two characters like kind of like fell for each other in such a short amount of time. Like that kind of always bothers me. That was a big complaint I had about Surrender Your Sons, which is
Love
that
at first sight.
it takes about 24 hours and those characters are always like already like super in love. I just don't know how realistic that is. I feel like that doesn't actually really happen very often. The characters are like fully invested within like a day. But
Sure.
they did go on a pretty wild adventure. They did go through a lot together, so I guess it's possible.
I think that happens a lot in maybe fantasy slash young readers books though, where people fall in love like.
Yeah, I guess. I guess it's like,
Like,
especially because it's like because it's young adult and it's got very that love at first sight thing. So, and then this will be our last question. So, would you have interpreted the book differently if it was in the third person POV versus the multiple first person POVs? How did the multiple first person POVs contribute to the plot development?
Hmm.
I mean, multiple first person POVs is very popular in young adult right now. I think a big part of that is because you get to see two characters kind of like falling for each other, but from each other's perspective. But I think in this case, the multiple POVs is sit up a little bit because you're like all out of this camera here. I think the multiple POVs is really important too because of their backgrounds, because we're talking about that background of faith and that background of science, and I think it was great to hear that from their own personal perspectives. What do you think of the multiple perspectives?
I think it really worked. I didn't feel like I was seeing something in from a perspective that I didn't want to see. I thought it worked out really well. I didn't think it was a problem, so I guess it's good.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it.
All right, guys. Well, that's where we're going to stop for tonight with reading comments. I just want to say a few things about the whole book club. So thank you guys so much for participating. I appreciate the multiple POVs, says Barry Morin. I think I wish the multiple POVs included some minor characters as well. I think the only thing with like I've read some books where like minor characters suddenly get like a random spotlight. If it's done well, it can be really good, but I've definitely seen it done to a point where it's almost like confusing as well. So it just depends on how the writer chooses to use that. But yeah, it would be cool to see some minor characters get a little spotlight here and there.
Everyone wants hints for February.
Yeah. So, okay. So what I was going to say is thank you guys so much for participating. I'm really excited for February's book. I will be announcing it on February 1st. I should have everything up around 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Are you sleepy?
I am a little sleepy.
The only hint I will give you is that because February is Black History Month, it was really important to me that the book be written by a Black author. So it is a book written by a Black author. It's a book that has been out for a little bit of time. It's still fairly new, but it's a book that's been out for a little bit of time, so hopefully you'll be able to find it at your library, your local store, wherever you are. It is available in audiobook, so if you're an Audible or audiobook listener, you'll be able to listen to it that way, which is great. So you'll be able to enjoy the story however you want. So that's really all I'll give you, because you only have to wait 2 more days, right? 3 more days. 2 more days? 3 more days. And once the announcement goes live, I will have a post on Instagram and TikTok where you can once again win a free copy. So if you're interested in winning a free copy, you'll be able to win. There'll be a contest on Instagram and a contest on TikTok. Unlike last month, this is not going to be. You're not going to be winning a whole bunch of stuff. You're just going to be winning a copy of the book. Next month we'll have a little bit more of like a package of stuff. You'll win some things. This month it'll just be a copy of the book. Yeah, so once the announcement goes live, make sure to check that out, and you can possibly win a copy of the book as well. And the people who won Other Side of the Sky, I mean, they got their copies pretty quickly. Like I picked the winner 3 days after the first, like I'll do with this, sent out the copies, and they had them within a week. So it was pretty fast, which was great. So yeah, right? Hint for February. So that's all the hints you get for February. All right, guys. Well, we're going to call it a night. This was super fun. Thank you for joining us for this live discussion. And I look forward to hearing your thoughts on February's book. And thank you for organizing this. Love being able to discuss the books with you. Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you guys for coming. I hope you have a wonderful night, and I hope you read some good books. And yeah, we're gonna have an awesome February. There's so many good books coming out in February, you guys. It's gonna be so much fun. I talked about this book club book with my students. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. That's amazing.
Great.
Wonderful. I love how your face switches between cameras. Yeah, I'm trying to like talk to everybody. I'm not great at it, but I'm trying. So, all right, guys. Thank you so much. We're gonna try and go off live on everything. Let's see. We're gonna start with YouTube.